Hello! Today we're going to talk about Father Ted. So let's take a look at this packaging and see what we get in it. Father Ted first aired in 1995 and ran until 1998. It's written by Linehan and Arthur Matthews, and it stars Dermot Morgan, Ardal and Frank Henley. Comedy set on Craggy Island, which is a fictional island set off the coast of Ireland, with 3 priests living in it and their housemaid called Mrs. Doyle, who loves making them tea. So essentially it focuses around all 4 of these characters. And it's a show that you really need to know a bit about Christianity and probably a lot about Irish tradition and culture and its roots and things like this to really fully enjoy it to the max. There's a lot of references to Irish laws and political things that are happening at the time, so you kind of need to be aware of it like this. So in a way it does age. I've talked about Fawlty Towers before and how it's kind of priceless, and to a certain degree Father Ted is priceless, but not to outsiders. And what I mean by like extended beyond Britain and Ireland, if you were an American and picked up this show, you'd be like, I have no idea what's going on. In fact, there's a very cringy video on YouTube, BuzzFeed, of Americans watching Father Ted, and it's pretty much, I haven't a clue what's going on. I don't get any of the jokes. Everything's kind of aged. I'm not aware of it anyway, so it just doesn't work for them, but it is part of the pop culture in Ireland. There's been so many memes. The newspapers love referencing Father Ted and drawing kind of alignments to certain stories that have happened in Father Ted to real life. And they've attempted to remake it several times in the US for some god-awful reason, including one in Boston. I think they were trying to set the show in Boston at one stage, which is not a very good idea. So what do you get? Well, let's open it. Not too heavy sleeve with artwork on it. This is the older editions of the DVD. There is a new edition which I'll leave images of, and the new edition I think is actually a better edition than this one here. I bought this a few years ago, but I haven't upgraded because we don't necessarily get new extras. You do get nicer artwork and art cards with the newer edition. But that's your sleeve there. Leave that there. And it's to the most part it's flip disc. You get yourself one of these, your little intros. So you have 25 episodes, spanning number of 3 seasons, and there's a Christmas special obviously included in this. It has everything. It's the complete edition, and you get it here as well. There is nice artwork on this, but there's nicer artwork now, and that seems to be the thing with re-releases of Father Ted, is that they tend to just change the artwork to make it more appealing and make the show look less aged, I guess, because it's still quite grainy. The quality on it is, I'm not gonna lie, it's bad at times, but for the time that it was shot, it was good. But there's been no Blu-ray re-release of it, and no real remaster, I guess, like Fawlty Towers got. So you get quotes and things like this here on the side of the discs. How many do we have? 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have 5 discs in total there, and the rabbits are kind of reoccurring artwork on this. It's a reference to Sampras, I guess. And you've got artwork in relation to certain episodes, near, far away, the cows. There's quotes there that'll quote each episode. But it's very nice. I bought this like in 2012 for €30 at the time. Now hopefully it's gone down to, like, you should be able to pick up Father Ted for 15 quid, but shops tend to be a bit nicky picky about it. Sometimes they go, well, we can get 20 something for this. But 15, 20 is usually what you do get it, or should be looking out for it. And more background artwork of the caravan, rabbits, Father Jack running away, and the plane. So they only did X amount of artwork for this edition. But again, the newer edition has a lot of new artwork on it, lined artwork cards and things like this, new intros for scene selections and things like that, new animation intros I should say, which look really well actually, I have to say. So that's one of the reasons I'd consider trying to re-pick it up. There's a few extra special features of Tedfest from a few later years, but nothing too new. You'll get like a Tedfest documentary on this one here as well. Father Ted is starring Dermot Morgan, Ardal O'Hanlon, Frank Henley and Pauline McGlynn. And sadly, only 2 of those out of the 4 cast are still alive currently as I'm talking about this. We lost Frank Kelly maybe a year and a half ago, and Dermot Morgan literally after season 3 wrapped. He died, he had a heart attack. So it's sad to say that we've lost two great Irish comedians. So the back of it there tells you what you're getting in it essentially, and it's pretty simple. It keeps it short and sweet. 25 episodes, brand new extras, not now. Interviews with the creators, Graham Linehan and Arthur Matthews. Comic relief with Ted and Dougal, that's quite good actually. They don't often use that footage. Tedfest 2007, a very Ted weekend, and Tedfest 2007, 2 Tribes Go to War, which was when these 2 islands wanted to be called Craggy Island, and I think they had a football match to decide who became Rugged Island and who became Craggy Island. I can't remember, but it was I think the score was 2-0 to whoever won it. But I think they decide every so often, every few years, and they have a football. It's a good idea. It's a good idea anyway. Plus commentaries on all 3 series. Doesn't say what episodes or how many episodes, and I haven't a clue, a bog's clue, because I cannot remember which discs have commentary, but maybe, oh no, it says here actually along the episode guide here, more detail of what commentaries you get. 1 to 6 commentaries per game, Linehan, 1 to 5. You seem to get a lot of commentaries anyway, so it's not just 1 or 2 episodes a season. You seem to get commentaries on most episodes. I can't remember whether I've listened to them. I probably did at one stage. So my favourite episodes, going through down the list here, is The Passion of St. Tibulus from season 1, which is episode 3. Season 2, Song for Europe has to win out. Disc 3, Cigarettes, Alcohol and Rollerblading. An episode that's very Irish related in the sense that, you know, 40 days of Lent. And if you don't know what Lent is, then the whole kind of premises revolves around them giving things up for Lent, which is a kind of Christian ideal that you offer things up to our Lord Jesus or whatever. There's lots of things that you know, Christianity and things priests do or should be doing or should not be doing that Father Ted revolves around. And the locals as well, their parishioners are kind of bonkers, or equally, sometimes more mad than the main cast up here. So there's this kind of, when the main cast is without them, they tend to be bonkers, but then when they come into contact with the parishioners, they become more reasonable. And they usually end up lying their way out of situations, or at least Ted does. Poor Dougal doesn't have to do any of that. He doesn't know what's going on. And neither does Jack. Actually, most of the... I think Father Ted is the only person who really knows what's going on. Dougal doesn't know what's going on. Jack doesn't know what's going on. And Paul McGlynn's character, Mrs. Doyle, she doesn't know what's really going on, or doesn't care to know what's going on really, most of the time. Whenever they tell her to watch, she's just like, yeah, see, I'm off shopping or going to meet a friend, or she will solve the problem. So there is that kind of, only Father Ted has the weight of the world on him to actually handle situations for failure. But I guess if nobody cares, then what does it matter? I don't know why Ted tries so hard if nobody cares around them. And the only person who seems to care is Bishop Brennan, and he only comes every so often to kick their arse, to move them to do certain things, like in The Passion of St. Tibulus, where they're protesting the movie about St. Tibulus, and you get the famous that sort of thing line. So yeah, season 4, no, disc 4, sorry. Chirpy Burpy Cheap Sheep, or Speed Tree, which is a reference to the movies. There's 5 discs, so they split these as 3 seasons across. I'm getting confused here. I'm looking at it and thinking, oh, there's 5 seasons, really. I know there's not 5 seasons. I know there's 3 seasons, but it's split across 3 discs. Disc 5, Escape from Victory. Kicking Bishop Brennan up the arse. I mean, that's essential, isn't it? Our Night of the Nearly Dead. Old MacLove, I've no Willie. that's if you've no idea what that means, then you're like, what did you just say? But yeah, classic stuff. Fierce funny if you can understand. If you can wrap your head around this comedy, you'll have endless joy from it. You can pick up Fawlty Towers and In-Betweeners and possibly quintessentially British stuff. This is quintessentially Irish. It was by Hat-Trick Productions, but it's nearly an entire comedic Irish cast. Writers are Irish. I mean, it's basically British funding Irish comedy, and it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, if you can really wrap your head around this, you'll realise why it's such a cult classic. So that's my review of it. I mean, check it out. If you're watching this, you probably already have checked it out. I mean, I don't know how it does with young people these days. They probably know, but there's a lot that young people have to contend with. I realise that people keep going, oh, you need to watch this and you need to watch that and watch this and that's a classic and this is a classic and don't watch that and that's crap and this is good. But this, if you're living in Ireland or in Britain or in probably Australia, if you're anyway Irish related, or if you understand Catholicism and you want to get a sneer of kind of how old-fashioned things used to be, that's one of the joys about it. Is like there's a thing in it for kind of time doesn't really necessarily change. You know, history kind of repeats itself in Ireland to a degree, and that's what gives people endless joy with it. Is that they keep referencing episodes from the show for new stories, like about the Catholic Church, how they're always old, you know, and how Irish people are kind of portrayed in this as, you know, not thick cultures, but they're self-concerned with themselves. They're self-concerned with doing the right thing, but not necessarily for the right reasons. Like, you know, the Tom and Mary are two characters that live in a shop and they have a terrible relationship and they should, by in rights, get a divorce. But of course, you know, they don't want to create a scandal or they'd be afraid of what the local priest, Ted, thinks. So that's my box set review. Check it out if you haven't. If you have it already, you probably maybe have a newer edition than I do, or maybe you have this, maybe you're old school, or maybe you have the VHS or the original DVDs, which are good too. The VHS not so much. It's still grainy as fuck and staticky and things. These are okay to watch. I said they're grainy. They are grainy. They're like a DVD from the 90s with, like, I don't know what cameras they were using, but the cameras are okay. It's cropped in the 4:8 ratio. It's not widescreen. It's not widescreen, so it might look bad on your new smart TV or whatever. But the comedy is good. The comedy is good, and it's my favorite box set. It's my favorite comedy, but that's quintessentially because I am an Irish person. If I was living in Britain, I'd probably say Fawlty Towers. But it's, if you're Irish, you'll get this. You'll understand it, and I guess that's no fault of my own to say that I like this because I'm Irish, because I live in Ireland, because I get the jokes a little bit more than you would if you were living in Australia or the US or Britain or the UK. You know, obviously if they're targeted at you, at your demographic or your nationality, then you're gonna get it, and it's made by Irish people, cast by Irish people, so how can you not love it in that sense? So you can't fault me for that, in the same way that I wouldn't fault the British person for saying, oh, I love the In-Betweeners and Fawlty Towers. So yeah, of course you do. It's your people, it's your comedy, it's your, you know, your humour that's been targeted, I guess, that kind of British humour of Fawlty Towers, and then the sort of, oh, wanker humour of the In-Betweeners, which I enjoy as well. It's not too far-fetched away from me that I can't understand and enjoy that either. So yeah, that's my box set review of this. Go out and get yourself a copy of it if you don't have it. 15 to 20 quid, same as Fawlty Towers. Don't pay 30 quid for it like I did, because this was probably one of the first decent copies that I came across, but when I first started buying things. So yeah, 21 years on the air and still very, 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 very good. Thanks for watching.